And just like that, Inter go top of the Serie A. And they've got Napoli next. They are picking up crazy form. And I feel like every Inter video I make, I always have to say, I didn't expect this. I truly, truly, truly didn't expect this. That's now 6 wins in a row. They went away to Rome. High flying Gasperini, Roma. Like they've had an amazing start to the season. They've been winning every single week. Inter go away from home. Tough crowd, tough atmosphere, hostile place to go. And they walk out of it with 3 points. They go top of the league. What do we make of it? What do we make of it? That's the question from me to every single one of you guys before I give my opinion on the game. Now it's my turn. I don't know what to make of that game. Like, don't get me wrong. First half, I feel like the first half was a little bit dry. First half was like the perfect example of what happens to teams once they go on a 2-week international break. It was boring. It was stale. A lack of idea. Like both teams, cagey. Second half, it picked up a lot. And it mainly picked up for Roma. Like, to be completely honest, this might truly sound crazy. I've watched every single Inter game in the Serie A so far this season. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this was probably Inter's worst performance of the season. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Juve, they lost. But I felt like they were good. Udinese, they lost. On another day, I have them winning the game against Udinese. I looked at them today, like, especially in the second half, and I was like, wow. Like, they've literally just sat back, invited pressure, and just relied on their structure, relied on their defensive acumen to keep them in the game and to win them the game. Because the second half was all Roma. It was all Gasperini's Roma. Hey, listen, Manu Kone is an amazing footballer. Manu Kone is an amazing footballer. I just have to repeat it. But boy, oh boy, are Inter looking at him and thinking, if we got you in the summer. For me, he was man of the match. In a game where I don't think many players impressed, Manu Kone for me was man of the match by a country mile. He genuinely was amazing. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, Inter have gone away from home, high-flying Gasperini's Roma, and they've walked out of it with 3 points. Now, don't get me wrong. There come periods in a season where you look at a team, you look at players, you look at the coach, and you say, listen, this brand of football is not acceptable. You players really need to step up. I'm a firm believer, like, this is just my opinion. I feel like when it comes to the big games, the tough opposition, when you're going away from home after a 2-week international break, the most important thing is to win. Like, I had to mention 2-week international break because I feel like an international break disrupts any momentum, any flow that you're building. After the international break, like, I'm not surprised if every game in the Serie A this weekend is dry, it's stale. Teams need to find their feet once again. Away to Roma, I look at it and I think, Inter, you just needed to go there and get the 3 points. Fair enough. Was it high-flying Inter that we've seen ever since the Serie A started? I don't think so. Was it the Inter that presses relentlessly high? Definitely wasn't the case. If anything, it was genuinely an Inter that was happy to sit back and just play on the counter. Like, especially when you look at some of the substitutions. Like, when I saw Esposito come on like the 60th minute, I was like, I know exactly what Chivu is trying to do. He knows Esposito will press relentlessly. Esposito is very good at holding up the ball. Esposito just launched the ball into the channels and he will run and he will apply serious pressure. Like a one-man attack. You can leave him up top, isolated, whilst everybody sits back and defends. When I saw him come on, I was like, I knew exactly what was going on. Roma, for me, this might sound crazy. I don't think it's crazy. I think they got the starting 11 wrong. I really think they got the starting 11 wrong. I think Paulo Dybala, I love him. I think he's an amazing footballer. He's had an amazing career. He will go down as a great of Calcio. But I think this whole false 9 gimmick that Gasperini is currently running at Roma, I just don't think it works. Because you see, in the first half, I looked at them and I was like, you guys are missing one thing and one thing only. You guys are truly missing a focal point. Like, you guys are missing somebody that can just stay on the last man. Somebody that can just stay in the opposition box and occupy an Acerbi, occupy an Akanji, a Bastoni. Dybala is, like, even though on paper he's playing centrally, he doesn't really play centrally. Like, Dybala likes to drift to the left, to the right. He likes to drop deep to pick up the ball. There was no focal point. And I'll be honest, I think when Dovbyk came on, Roma looked far better. I don't think Dovbyk had an amazing performance, but I just feel like that focal point, that physical presence really troubled Inter. Roma had opportunities, like, to be completely honest with you guys. I think the second half was all them. They had opportunities, wave after wave after wave. Dybala had one, Dovbyk had one, Selic, the right back, had one. Hermoso from the corner had one. They didn't take them. I think Sommer had a very good game. Like, Sommer is a goalkeeper that's under a lot of scrutiny at the moment. There's a lot of doubt. I think he had a very good game. But touching on my point earlier, I feel like when it comes to games after the international break, a tough game like this, an away crowd like Roma, like away from home in Rome, you just need to win. And I'll be honest with you guys, I've said this before about many teams that I discuss. The sign of a good team is a team that can win whilst not playing the best. I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a firm believer in that across all leagues. La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Premier League, Liga 1, Turkish Super League, whatever league it is. The sign of a good team is a team where on their day, when they step it up, they can win comfortably. But the sign of a good team is a team where, regardless of the occasion, like regardless of whatever the circumstances may be, I don't know, suspension, injuries, a lack of investment, a change of tactics, away from home, dodgy VAR decisions. Like, there's so many things that can go wrong leading up to a game and during a game. But for me, the sign of a good team is a team that can still win whilst not playing the best. And I've said this about Gasperini's Roma this entire season. This entire season. Whenever I've watched them and I've made content on them, I've said, Roma have won. They've won 1-0. They've won 2-1. They've won 2-0. But I'd be a liar if I tell you Roma were amazing. But you could see they know how to win games. They know how to win games dirty. And I promise you, over time, you will go from being a team that win games dirty to a team that win games to a very high level. I think these are massive 3 points for Inter. I truly think. One, you keep up the momentum that you had before the international break. Two, you go back top of the Serie A, and I feel like when you're top of the Serie A, like the players, the coach, they start to look at one another with some form of belief. Like, listen, the job is getting done. Listen, we're getting the best out of one another. Listen, Chivu, you are getting something out of these players, and these players are getting something out of you. And you know what it is? Home, away, across the world, in Europe or wherever, you are winning games. And I think it makes next week, Napoli, like, that's massive. I think that is a massive game for Inter. And to be honest with you guys, Napoli, they've just lost Torino. They don't look good. I think Chivu and Inter are looking at that game and thinking, this is an opportunity for us to practically get rid of the big boys. We've played Juve. We've played Roma. We've played, we've played Napoli. Then they got Lazio a week later. Then they got like Fiorentina. I think they're looking at it and they're thinking, listen, we're eliminating the big boys. We're getting the 3 points. We're climbing up the table. And that's all you can ask of Inter, of Chivu. It wasn't the best of games. Like, if we want to look at the goal real briefly, Barella spots the pass from Bonny. Like, sometimes, I always say this, a high line, there's good and there's bad to it. And this was the bad. And this is where Inter exposed the high line. Of course, I guarantee you 1 millisecond, just 2 centimeters, if Selic had stepped forward, Bonny would have been offside. But listen, you have to roll the dice. Inter had to roll the dice by attempting that pass. Bonny had to roll the dice by making that run. And I feel like the way Roma like to play, the way they like to push everybody forwards, they roll the dice by having a high line. I just feel like Inter exposed it. And listen, how many times do we turn around and say, in a game of football, small margins always decide an affair? And I feel like this small margin was what decided the affair. 3 points for Inter. I think it's massive for them in terms of momentum, in terms of confidence, in terms of morale, in terms of chasing whatever goal. Like, I'm guessing the goal is to win the Scudetto. It's a massive game. I think it's what, 7 games on the trot, win after win after win after win. They truly look like the team to stop at the moment. Roma, I just feel like Gasperini really needs to figure it out. Like, he really needs to figure it out. If Soulé and Pellegrini are your 2 roaming number 10s, you need to partner them with like a physical presence, because Soulé and Pellegrini are not the most physical of players. When you go with the Dybala, Soulé, Pellegrini, as much as they're technical and they're fluid, you really miss a physical presence in attack. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys on another one.